Here's a fun three-dimensional cane made with one color, light to dark. It's easy to assemble, but takes a minute to get the right amount of each blend. You need 6 different shades, and the 2 darkest there's more of those. So this is about 1 ounce of clay of green and 1 ounce of black mixed together. So I have a very nice dark. And since I'm going to arrange this as a Skinner blend, I go ahead and set aside half of it. The other side is white with a little bit of orange and sunshine yellow, but you could just have straight white. Now this I'm going to divide into 6 sections. And this will be fun anyway because it'll show you why a Skinner blend works. So we're not going to blend this into a Skinner blend, although you could, but you would still need to separate and mix up the sections. So I'm gathering them together and I'm going to mix those as individual balls of color. Now these last 2 go together. This needs to be larger. And it is the lighter of the 2 darks, and so it goes with the 2 lightest mix. And then the very dark goes with the 2 darkest mix. So I'm going to mix each of those together individually. See, those are the 6 colors. The 2 darkest are in back, and these are the 4 lightest. And they need to be made into strips. My strips are about 2.5 centimeters by 8 centimeters. You will have leftovers. Run them through the pasta machine till they're all about the same length and width. So there needs to be double the dark for each. Those are the 2 of the darkest of the little balls of clay, and they both go with the very, very darkest black green. So I'm simultaneously squaring up that strip and using the little scraps to make a teeny tiny little right triangle. And now I'm going to alternate between the dark and the light. Can you hear the birds singing out here? Now my favorite things about these canes is just the way you can cut a bevel cut. If you just cut it at an angle, it will automatically start making the right triangle that you need. Now we're going to flip between light and dark. You may only be able to get 3 layers, or you may be able to get 4. Just work with what you got. So here's the bevel cut idea. Now if I flip it over, the angle's correct for the next layer. I've done the same thing for the dark. Each bevel, you cut the bevel cut, flip it over, then the angle's right for continuing the triangle. That point at the very top is the right angle, but even if it's not a right angle now, you can kind of force it into being a right angle later. And see, there you go. Set it right there nicely, and there's the bevel cut making the smooth side of the triangle. So I could stop there, or if I seem like I have enough clay for both of the dark triangles, I'll finish it up with 4. And now's where I'm trying to form it better into a right triangle. And I can do that even more later when I put the 4 together. So that's the darkest. Now I'll put these 2 together. Doesn't look like there's quite enough of that dark, so I might have to mix up a little more dark. And you can refer to the PDF to get the colors right, but here are the 2 darkest. and here are the two lightest. And you'll see they will not all be perfect in the same size, so you'll just have to cut one and the end of one off until they're all the same size. You're pretty much restricted to your smallest triangle, and all of them need to be cut down to the size of the smallest of the four. Otherwise, if you just force them in, it will distort the pattern. So there we go. The lightest is directly opposite from the darkest. And all the way through, make sure those lines connect. And it's nice because you haven't, the sheets make them clean so they can connect easily. Take your time in reducing the cane. As always, there will be messy ends. So be sure to cut off enough so that you've got a nice, perfect pattern remaining. You could have done this in 4 sections, 16 sections. I've chosen here to cut it into 9 sections. This part is easy to mess up. You have to check and double check that each one of the triangles is facing the right direction. I like the dark to be all facing down and the lights to all be facing up. But maybe the trickier thing is end to end, making sure that the side triangles, that the shades of the side triangles are correct as well. You may mess up, it may not significantly affect it, but check and double check before you squish them all together. It probably will happen at some point. Now this one's not as dramatic as the brown one. The more contrast, the better. But I like it. I think it has kind of a 3D look to it. I think it's pretty cool.